Hey everybody, welcome back to another review of Married at First Sight. This is going to be season 13, episode 6. Uh, Title of the episode I think is called Out of the Comfort Zone, Into the Sea. Uh, as always, it's me, James, the big-eyed himself, and I gotta be honest with you, this is very boring. Uh, I can't wait for the honeymoon to be over because this is all just bullshit. Everything that's happening now is just bullshit, and it's getting so hard to watch this 2 hours of nothing that's happening. Nothing is actually happening. You're learning stuff about people, but it's nothing significant. You're basically learning they're not going to work. That's all you're learning, and that's all we're going to go through right now. It shouldn't take too long, so hey, let's just get into it. When I put the mic right here, because I wasn't coming through when I was testing it, and I figured if I put it right here, maybe a little closer to me, maybe you can hear it. So if it's blowing your damn speakers out, I'm sorry. On mine, I couldn't hear myself. That's why I moved the mic closer to me. We're going to start with Michaela and Zach because they're the easiest, because they're not even in the episode. Zach is quarantined with the COVID, and Michaela is gone back to Houston. And Michaela said she's having a hard time. I don't think she really is, because she's doing the same thing she did before, just by herself. But she is married now, so that's probably weighing on her. And Zach told her, it's going to be a short-term sacrifice for a long-term paradise. Which, that's cute. I like that. I like that a lot. And that's what's driving her. That's what's motivating her. And he's like, he misses her. And, he wants to be around her. He wants to get to know her. They're supposed to spend this time, going to the beach, getting to know each other. I don't understand why they're not communicating. But he shouldn't feel he's missing out on that. They are communicating. I'm assuming they are. But yeah, that's about it. He talked to the people. They're walking by, yelling up at us to his hotel room and stuff. So it looks like next episode he'll be out of quarantine and back with Michaela, which is weird because that's a very short quarantine, unless he tested negative and they just let him go. I don't know how often they're doing tests. There's no telling when he got it, but they might be doing constant testing, and the moment he tests negative, they're like, he's good to go. Well, that's it for them. They didn't really do anything. They weren't really a part of the episode. Next is Merle and Gil. They started out. I started out thinking that they would absolutely hate each other. And I think it's coming to the point now where I don't think they hate each other. They kind of have this respect for each other's ways. I think at the end of this, she is going to like him a lot. Because she says it a lot in the episode. Like, he's very patient with her because she knows how she is. And she's probably used to guys just snapping on her. But Gil's not going off on her. He's pretty much, they have a really cute back and forth. Where they call her, he calls her out on her stuff, but he does it in a very cute and funny way. But he does call her out every time on her attitude and things she does and things she says. But he's not being rude about it or like angry. He just like, he makes a joke out of it. And I think she likes that. I don't think she minds being called out. And she really likes the way he calls her out. And she calls him out too. They start with the whole last name thing, where she tells him like, I don't want to take your last name. Because he said, at the wedding they talked about it. And she was like, no. He brought it back up. It means a lot to him for his wife to take his last name. And she's like, no. And then she tells him that, I have my dad's last name. And that's why I want to keep it to honor him. And Gil said, well, now that made me feel like I'm the bad guy. So he said, you're Mexican. In Colombia, it's something that women do, where they just add another name. There's a way to just add another name to your name. And she was like, she knew what he was talking about. And she was like, I don't want to do that. She's like, I just want to keep it how it is. And I think that's going to be a point of contention with them, because Gil really wants his wife to have his name. And she really wants to keep her dad's name, her late father's name. I don't give a shit either way. As a viewer, I don't give a fuck what they call themselves. Maybe you do, I don't. I don't know why they're making us see this. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever they come to, whatever they decide. If anybody's fault, it's the experts. Because they should have asked these questions before. I don't know. I've never seen the questionnaire. I've never seen it, but they have to add. Do you want to change your last name, or does your spouse have a different last? Like that has to be a question. How is that not a question? It's so much stuff that you think should already be decided before they ever pair them together. They go to dinner with the rest of the group and they get into politics. And I think Gil was out of his mind when he was saying that, politics shouldn't break up a home. He should split a house. He was saying he just votes for whoever is going to help him out personally. And Murray was like, no, I vote for whoever's going to help out the most people. I don't just vote for myself. I don't vote based on my own needs or wants. I vote for who will help, who will do the most for the most amount of people, for the largest amount of people. And Gil was like, politics should split a home. I'm like, you're fucking crazy. Politics split a country. Politics split everything. Yes, it will split a house. And, and I even understand him and Ryan, because Ryan was another one about this, but Ryan didn't want to talk because he had a lot of bullshit to say. So he just sat there and said, whenever somebody sits there and it's quiet, they know they're going to say some shit that's going to piss everybody in the room off. So they're just not going to say anything. But Gil was like, and I understand fiscal conservatism, like big government, small government. I understand that. If you're that kind of conservative and they're not, like, I can understand that not splitting a home is just like, budgetary issues and money issues and the role you think government should play, that's fine. But when it comes down to people's rights, gay rights, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, blue lives matter, the environment, our place in the world, all that is stuff has nothing to do with fiscal conservatism. That has to do with how you want to live. That how you will raise kids in a religious household and very religious, and like a political, like, for Gil to say it doesn't matter, that tells me that he's not a deep person, or he's not even thinking. For Marla, she was like, literally everybody else at the table was like, no, it absolutely plays a role in a marriage, your political beliefs. I don't know why Gil thought it didn't. That sounds absolutely batshit insane to me. I don't know what was going through his mind on that. But I saw him and Merla, but even though him and Merla were, whatever, I know I'm saying it wrong. They seem like they agree on politics, but how the importance that they view politics, that differed wildly. She looks at it like it's very important. He looks at it like it's not that important. Even though I think they align with politics, but I think for him it's even weird because he says he's not black. He said, he's Afro-Latino, he's Afro-Colombian, Afro-Latino, and I'm like, you in America, man, you black as hell. Ain't nobody finna do all that shit. Look over your goddamn ethnicity, you black. Yeah, he's Afro-Colombian, but you black as hell, man. Come on now, get off of it. And so that's going to be an issue because he identifies more as a Hispanic person than a black person. So he doesn't really care about a lot of black issues. Whereas Mirla seems more like it's minority issues, it's not even black issues. Even though they align, they view them differently, or they view the importance of them differently. And he's a firefighter. So he's like, I'm voting for whoever makes life easier for a firefighter. I don't really care. All the other shit he doesn't care about, but he should. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be a big point of contention between them because he's just being, he's being real childish about it, the whole thing, and being naive about it. If he thinks it's not important, it absolutely is important. And they talk about, growing up, because she said she grew up poor. He asked her, like, okay, what do you mean by poor? Because everybody has a different kind of poor. And she was like, we grew up in this shack. We didn't have a lot of things. People had a lot of stuff. Didn't have a lot of stuff. People around us had money and stuff. So it just always made her want to. That's her drive. And she asked him, and he said, "Well, I grew up poor, but not like dirt poor. Like we always had food." She said, "Well, I always had food." He said, "Oh," she said, "Well, we always had light. Like nothing. Bills weren't cut off. We were never homeless or evicted, or anything like that." He was like, "Oh, so you were just poor. You weren't like dirt poor. Like there's different levels of poor, and everybody views it differently. And he was just trying to figure out what's her. She was trying to figure out, okay, what was your poor? And both of their pours were different, but hers would seem like. So he was like, okay, so what does this come from? And she was like, well, I always wanted stuff. There's always things I wanted, but we couldn't afford, so I never got it. Not that we just didn't have shit that was essential to life. She always had her needs. She never had her wants. I think it's the best way to say it. So her drive now was to get her wants and not just have her needs filled. And Gil was like, oh, so this is how you always been. This isn't new. This isn't just like, oh, this is my attitude now. And she was like, no, when I was a kid, this is how I was. Because I always wanted nice things and I could never afford them. Now I want nice things and can't afford them, so I'm getting them. So, alright, so I think that gave Gil some understanding about her. About, okay, he is very patient with her. And they're not going to make it, but they're going to get along just fine. It's not going to be, I don't see a lot of fighting. Because Gil doesn't seem like he's going to fight and argue with her. He's just going to blow her off. And she seems like she's ready for him to attack her, and it's surprising her that he's not. So I think they'll get along fine, but they're not going to make it. Especially not with the dog stuff like that. It's so much. Even, and I have to give her credit because, she knew he liked cookies. So she bought him 3 dozen chocolate chip cookies. She had rooms where she get, that's 36 cookies. And he didn't eat them. He ate some of them, but he didn't eat them all. I'm like, that's a lot of cookies. And I think Gil said he liked cookies, but he didn't mean he liked them like that. But he's going to eat over 30 of them at once. So when they left, they just left like maybe like half of them there. I'm sure production ate them. They didn't go to waste, but I think her heart was in the right place, And Gil was talking about, buying her gifts. He has to think about his gifts. Like, okay, I have to keep her in mind on what she would like for the gifts, which you would think self-explanatory, but it's really not, because he was just doing things that are generally accepted as nice, but it wasn't exactly what she wanted. Like she recognized he was doing something, but not it was a gift, and he was like, I have to think about the gifts specifically for her. And not just in general. What else I got on there? I think that's it. I think they had about the dog. Gil was tripping on this about the dog walking. He was like, "Yo, I have a dog, and now I have someone that can help me walk the dog, clean up behind the dog." And she was like, "No, that's your dog." He was like, "You're not going to help me?" He thought his wife would help him. She was like, "No, why would you think that?" And I'm on her side. Like, that's your dog. She doesn't have to walk it. She doesn't have to clean up the house. She was like, "I'll pay somebody to do it." And he was like, "Well, that's a waste of money when you can just do it." She was like, "No, it ain't a waste of money because I ain't going to do it." And Gil was kind of out of line for even thinking that she would just automatically do it. He has a pit bull. No, I wouldn't just up and decide to try to walk somebody else's pit bull. Because they don't even know. You don't even know the dog. You don't even know the dog likes her. She doesn't like the dog. Why would you try and force this to happen? Gil was crazy for that shit. But I don't think him and Miracle got much of a chance anyway. So, it's whatever. Next couple is Johnny and Bao. This started out with Bao saying that, she's happy she could talk to him about her snoring. And Johnny was saying, like, yeah, I kind of blew that off. I didn't know it was that serious, because he really didn't. He didn't seem like he cared either. Man, it's so little going on that it's hard to find something to talk about. He asked her about her previous relationships. She said that her previous relationships, she always did the physical intimacy first, and then try to get to know the person later. And I guess, sure. I think Johnny asked her, like, okay, so why was you doing that, and why are you doing it different now? And she said, because physical intimacy is easy. You can just do it, and if you like it, then sure, you can figure it out later. She said, so it was just simple. And now getting to know someone first, you know, is a decision on do I want to be intimate with this person. And I think Johnny was kind of rolling his eye like, well, damn, you know, you get with me and then suddenly you want to stop being physical. I don't think Johnny was that cool with that. They got into later on they get into a hammock and they're still talking about you know, the snoring. And Johnny told her, like, you know, when you told me that, how it made you feel, he said, I was ready to go. Johnny says that all the time, that he was ready to swipe right, I'm out of here, swipe right, left, whatever it is. He's like, I'm finna go. He said, but because they're married now, he can't just do that. He's like, I deleted all my dating apps, there's no other options, instead of just running from it, I gotta work through the problem. But he really doesn't want to work through problems, he just want to replace her. That's what he wants to do in his heart, is just replace her. But he knows he can't do that. And it's forcing him to do stuff he doesn't want to do. I don't think Johnny is ever going to get married. Because I don't think him and Bao gonna make it at all. I don't. There's a lot of stuff came out about between them that I think is just irreconcilable differences. Like, she is very loyal and very dedicated to this, and Johnny is like, every time he talks, he's like, I was damn near out of here, or I'm ready to go. Every time they talk to him, every time he does the confession, he was like, I'm ready to go. And Bao is like really hanging in there because she said, I like him. I really like him. I've always liked him. And she should probably stop telling him that. Because he's like using that as like, that's kind of turning him off. That she likes him that much. I don't understand it. You would think he would love that. As someone who says that he loves a woman and wants him, she wants him. And it's kind of like pushing him away. That she wants him so much. I don't think he ever thought of her like that. And to learn that she's always thought of you like that probably does seem kind of weird. They go parasailing. It's cute. They have a good time. They talk about moving in, and Bao has concerns about moving in because she's like, Johnny is very particular and he's very specific, and he wants things a certain way. And he's clean and she's clean, but she doesn't know if their cleans match. Okay, is my clean the same as your clean? And Johnny's like, well, sure, of course it is. And Bao was like, I don't think my clean is the same as your clean. And then she goes into the whole shower talk. Bao doesn't shower all the time. She said, because Johnny showers 3 times a day. And Bao says, see, I don't shower that many times a week. And she said, I might go days without showering. If I'm feeling depressed or down or whatever, I might not, if I don't want to get out of bed, I'm not going to go shower. I understood that. That's how depression works. That's how mental illness will work. If you're just down and you just don't want to do anything. I understand it. But then she said that sometimes she'll go to the gym and work out. And she'll come home and she just won't shower. So she was like, can I just lay on the couch if I don't want to get in bed? And Johnny was absolutely disgusted at this whole thing. Like, he had a look of just complete and utter grossed out shock on his face. It was crazy. Like, he was like, hell no, that's not okay. He was like, okay, if you don't want to shower, just, you know, get in the bed, but wash the sheets. She was like, well, I don't want to wash the sheets either. And he was just like, gobsmacked. Like, you don't want to wash your ass, and you don't want to wash the sheets. You don't want to do anything. How could you go to now that's my thing, is how do you go to the gym, work out, have all that energy for that, but then when you get home, you don't have energy to do anything? Okay, cut your workout short by 10 minutes. Come home and just take a shower. And Johnny was like, he was trying to come out. He was like, just run water on you. Just do something. If you don't want to shower, just do anything. He was like, just something. And she was like, no, I just lay on the couch. He was like, well, I don't want you on the couch. So I don't know what's going on with that. Johnny was not here for it. He didn't like it. He didn't want it. In the preview, you see her saying, like, yeah, for this episode, she was like, yeah, I'm not going to shower. And you see Johnny was like, well, I'm finna go home. I'm not going to stay. Shit. Johnny is not feeling that. But then it's weird for him to shower 3 times a day. I'm like, God damn, what are you doing with your life? How you get that funky? Or is that just something that he does just out of habit, or I don't know what the fuck, compulsion? 3 times a day just seems a bit much to me. I would understand twice a day, but 3 times every day? Fuck are you doing? Honestly, Bao makes more sense showering every other day than Johnny's 3 times a day. Yeah. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Shoot. Later on, Johnny says, he talked to his dad. His dad asked him, did he do it? He said, yeah. His dad asked him, was she Asian? And he said, yeah. And he said his dad was happy that he married an Asian woman. And he started telling him about her. And the more he told his dad about Bao, the happier and happier his dad got. And then he was like, I'm real happy you got married. Congratulations. It's wonderful. I hope she makes you happy. All that kind of stuff he should have said in the damn beginning, he says now. And Johnny is like crying again. He's so happy that his dad approved. I'm like, I don't understand why he seeks his dad approval for shit. He left you when you was a kid. He not in your life at all. Criticizes and fucking looks down on everything you do. Why would you even care? He obviously don't give a fuck. That's just me. I don't think Johnny and Bao gonna do anything. I think they're just full of shit and just playing with each other. They go on a boat trip where everybody's out paddleboarding, and somehow, some way, Johnny ends up a mile of goddamn way from the rest of the group. Like, they're all around the boat. I don't know how the hell Johnny got way out there at all. But he was like, and they were worried about, he was fine. You could tell he was fine. I don't know why they tried to play it up like he was in some great danger of, being lost at sea, or like he getting hit by a boat. The damn boat was further away than he was. They tried to edit that to a dramatic scene when it wasn't. It was just like a dumbass scene. Like, why the fuck is Johnny way out there? He didn't know how to turn on a paddleboard. It was stupid. It was just dumb as hell. And Bao is just worried to death about Johnny. Because, everybody else is on the boat. They were all paddleboarding. Everybody else got off their paddleboard, got back on the boat. Johnny is way the fuck out. Like, he just drifted or whatever. I don't know how he got that far away. I don't know what was going on. Bao was having a goddamn panic attack. She's gonna lose her husband and all that. And I'm like, y'all can just turn the boat and go get him. Like, I don't understand. It was so many options. First of all, Johnny can swim. He's on a paddleboard. He's got a paddle. He can always just paddle his ass back. You're on a boat. You can just go get him. If all that fails, he can just swim to the goddamn boat. It's not a desperate situation. I don't know why they were trying to play it off like it was when it clearly wasn't. But they're not going to make it because I think Johnny's ready to go. And I think even on Unfiltered, one of the Unfilters, Johnny said that he never slept in the house with Bao. He always went back to his house at the end of the day. They're not gonna make it at all, and I think it's gonna crush Bao. I think Bao really likes him and really wants it to work with Johnny. And I think Johnny is looking for the next thing. He's just looking for the next woman. Next couple we got Rachel and Jose. Jose creeps me out. He just seems weird to me. Like, it's something wrong. Like, it's something off. This episode, they were talking about, riding a bike, and Rachel said she doesn't know how to ride a bike. So Johnny was like, well, I'll teach you how to ride a bike. That was cute. Tim teaching her how to ride a bike, and she picking it up. I think she knew how to ride a bike, but just wasn't confident she knew how to ride a bike. I've seen people who don't know how to ride a bike try, and it takes a while. She just got on a bike and rode it. So she probably knew, but hadn't done it in so long that she didn't have confidence that she did know how. But you never forget how to ride a bike. She got on a bike and just rode it. I think that was something else that was played up on for dramatic effect. It wasn't a real issue. They were talking about money, and she says that, she's very bad with money. And she's concerned because he's very good with money. And she is not financially responsible. She said she wants to go on a trip to Switzerland, And Jose was like, nah, how about Vegas or New York? Which it was insulting to me at home on my couch. How the fuck you gonna compare Vegas to Switzerland? You know, like, that's not even in the same ballpark at all. I got my heart set on going to Switzerland, going down the Swiss Alps, skiing, yodeling, and you say, hey, let's go to Vegas instead? You kiss my whole ass, man. No. Jose was tripping on that. But then Rachel is like, yeah, you know, she wanted to go on a trip. She didn't have any money, so she got a credit card for $10,000 and just used that on the trip to Switzerland. Because she's like, I'm going on a trip. She said she goes on a trip every year and a big trip every 2 years. And she's like, I'm not going to stop doing that. Broke or not. She'll just go into more and more and more debt. Which Jose was like, no. He said he has a near perfect credit score. He don't want to brag about anything like that, but it's 815. And as you didn't know, his credit score is 815. Damn near perfect. And that's the point of pride for him. And he should be proud of it. That he's so financially responsible. He wants houses and things that he can pass on to his kids. You know, so they don't grow up poor without. He wants that. And Rachel is like, no, I kind of want to just do shit. If I have money, I'm fucking up. She's like, if I got money, I'm doing something wrong. Because that's money I could have spent doing something. So that's a big problem that it ain't going to work at all. He wants to save and she wants to spend. How is that? Like, that has to be on the questionnaire for this show. How do you view money? Like, what are the questions they're asking? Because anybody could have told him that this ain't going to work. Oh, well, he's going to help her and she's going to help him. No, they're going to argue and fight. That's all they're going to do. They're not young enough to talk it out. They're not young enough to adjust. They're older and set in their ways. This is what they do. They're not looking to be changed. They're looking for somebody that's going to compliment what they already do. You're not going to change me. You're going to do the shit I'm doing. It's better, depending on age, it's better to match two liked people instead of two opposite people. That's the fuck up that they're doing, the experts. They should be alike. They're too old to change. They're set in their ways. This isn't going to work at all. And another thing is that Jose wants a woman that's dependent upon him. And Rachel is like, I'm independent. My dad taught me that. I take care of me. I pay my own bill, pay my own way. And this whole give you the money and you make an allowance thing, no, that's not going to work for her. She doesn't want to be in a situation where she depends on him for survival. Depends on him for anything. She doesn't want to, like, she's like, no, I want to have my own. So when shit hit the fans, I can just go and I'll survive just fine. And Jose doesn't want it. Jose wants her dependent on him. And he wants utter dependence. Complete dependence. You have no life without me. You have no home, no money, no car. You can't even eat without me. That's what Jose is looking for. And Rachel is like, hell to the no. And I'm on her side. No, that sounds like a bad idea from the jump. Shoot. And then she asked him about intimacy. Something's off with Jose. Because when she's talking to him about sex, about intimacy, he's like, well, it's not going to happen for him until all his boxes checked. He has this checklist, and everything needs to be checked for intimacy to happen. And I'm like, wait a minute. You're the same guy at the wedding night was like, if she wants sex, I'm a man, I'm going to give it to her. You're the same guy who had all those condoms and shit packed for the honeymoon and all that. You seem like you was all into sleeping with her when it didn't seem like an actual possibility. It seemed like you were really ready to hit it when hitting it wasn't going to happen. Now that Rachel is like, yeah, I want to have sex, you're like, no, I'm not ready. You was ready when it wasn't on the table. But now that it's on the table, you're not ready? That's bullshit. Thumbs off, thumbs up. And he's always kissing her so I hate watching them kiss because it's always so aggressive and disrespectful. Like he always grabs her by her neck and just like puts his tongue and his mouth all over her, and she's just giggling and going along with it. I'm like, is you enjoying this? This seems like assault. I don't know what's happening. I don't get Jose. Something is off. Something ain't right. There is a lie going on here. And I don't know what it is. Or I could be just tripping. But they ain't gonna make it off of how they look at life and their beliefs. It's just they're too old and set in their ways to have even a thought that they're gonna change. They're not even saying they're open to changing. You know, none of them are. Nobody is like, I'm open to change. They're all like, this is how I am, this is what I do, and then nothing's gonna stop it, nothing's gonna change. I don't even know how they got on this show. Next couple is Brett and Ryan. And I think Brett is getting on Ryan's fucking nerves. Because Brett said she was scared to go kayaking. Kayaking is I'm not talking like white water rafting. I'm talking about they were like in a pond. In like a lagoon at the resort. Kayaking. And she was like, oh, she's terrified of water. I'm like, what? Swimming pools are more dangerous than this. And she was afraid of manatees. They were kayaking and it was a manatee. And she completely freaked out and lost her shit over a manatee. It's a glorified log with a face. Okay, a manatee is nothing. Shit. It's nothing. And Brian was like fucking with her. Or like, okay, well, if we see any aggressive manatees or like tame sharks, I'll get you. Shit. An aggressive manatee? Because she was like, oh, it could be. I'm like, it's a manatee. It's literally a log with a flat tail and a face on the other end. They move at half a mile an hour. They have no teeth. They do nothing. I don't know what she thought a manatee was going to do to her, but that seemed like it pissed me off at home. And she was just freaking out on the kayak. I don't understand. I don't get it at all. The next thing with them was politics. Because Brett is freaking out over Ryan. Because they don't talk about it. But she gets the sense that he is a very intense conservative. And she is a very liberal. And she said, I never even identified as that until like a couple years ago. She said, I never had any political identity at all until maybe a few years ago. And Ryan was like, he's the same way. He never really, but until recently, he started getting a more political identity. And he works in the oil field, and she's like a teacher. And they're on they have occupations that puts them in different spots. They have beliefs that put them in different spots. But Ryan seems like he really doesn't care about a lot of it, but I think he does. He's just saying that to make her and other people feel more comfortable. I think he has an opinion and thoughts on it, but he's not voicing it. He's just being real quiet. But Brett is pretty much like, she knows that our politics will keep us apart. It doesn't even matter about anything else. What you believe and what I believe, from what she can sense, is like, that's going to be a big issue for us. So, and Ryan, I don't think Ryan even likes her. He doesn't act like he likes her. He acts like he is putting up with her. And he's like Johnny. Like, normally I'd have been gone. But I'm married, so I'm not gone. But every time he turns around, he's like, I really want to be gone. I don't want to be here no more. That's his constant. It's like, I'm ready to go. They're not going to make it. For several reasons. The main one is he doesn't even like her. At all. He doesn't like anything about her. He doesn't like her attitude. He doesn't like how she dresses. He doesn't like how she looks. He has a problem with her looks. He doesn't even like looking at her. Like, and that's something that you're not going to get past. He doesn't like her personality. He doesn't like any of that. He doesn't like anything about her. And she can kind of feel that. So I don't know why they got paired together. But they ain't going to make it. What else happened? Nothing. Oh, she talked about how Ryan was pretty much good at everything they did. When they went kayaking, he was good. Paddleboarding, he was good. Whenever they did anything, she was like, Ryan is pretty much good at whatever we try and do. Because he's an outdoors kind of guy. So that shouldn't surprise her that he's good with outdoor activities, especially water activities. I don't know why that surprised her, but she was dumbfounded by it. They had a group dinner. They talked about communication. Johnny and Bao were like, we communicate real good. They talked about politics. They talked about who consummated. And none of them have. I'm like, well, Michaela and Zach knocked boots. But they're not there. And when they asked who going to do it first, I think everybody pretty much said Johnny and Bao going to do it first. But except for Ryan, he said no, Zach and Michaela going to do it first. Zach and Michaela have already had sex. So, yeah, Ryan was right about that too. And the girls had a talk. The girls had a talk that I found pretty interesting on the boat trip. They were talking about how this is different from dating. About how, because they've been put into a marriage, they have to kind of work through stuff and do things that they normally wouldn't do. And I think Brett said, normally she would meet a guy on a dating app or something, and they would be like, oh, I don't like his pants, skip. It was so easy to go from one guy to the next, one person to the next, that you never did. Even the smallest thing, you were like, whatever, that's it. But now, you can't let the small things make you go away. So it was weird to me because the guys have been saying this. Johnny and Ryan, they've been saying it. It was odd to hear Bao, Mirla, Brett say the same thing. Because I wouldn't have thought that. They said, yeah, we do that too. They were like, yeah, I just go from guy to guy to guy. It doesn't matter. Like any small thing, whatever. So they've been having normally I'd be out thoughts too, but they're not vocalizing them. It was odd to hear them vocalize it. That they were in the same, I'm gone. Except for Mirla. Mirla, I think, was like, no, I'm really liking Gil. I think Gil was also like, I've been gone. For real. Gil is like, and she keeps threatening divorce. And I think Gil don't give a fuck. If you throw into our divorce, Gil I don't give a fuck. Divorce me. It's fine, but that's what I believe. This is what I feel. They're not going to make it. I don't think they're going to go 0 for 5 this season. None of these couples are going to make it. Not a one. They're all going down. I said that from episode 1, and I'm still standing by it. They're not going to make it. Not a single one. And these episodes are so boring. There's nothing on it. You have to hunt for something of enjoyment. They have to edit in false bullshit to make it seem like something's going on. Which is pretty much life and relationships. The majority of your time in relationship, nothing of note is happening. Especially if you don't even like the person. You don't even talk. They're not even talking to each other. I think Marilyn and Gil have the best back and forth. I actually enjoy watching them because they actually have fun together. They don't like each other, but they have fun together. But that's it for me, man. None of this is gonna happen. Marilyn and Gil are turning into the best couple to watch, just off how much fun they have. Everybody else is just long suffering. Those two have given up. They've been like, we ain't gonna make it. Might as well enjoy the ride. And I'm enjoying watching them too. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe down below. And we'll keep riding this train long as it'll go, y'all. Peace.